What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marvlat, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, it's been a heck of a week. Heck of a week right now in February. As y'all already saw earlier this week, we had the Super Bowl. We had Kendrick Lamar going in on the halftime performance. And several days later, we had Drake releasing a new album, which actually was not that bad. Valentine's Day just passed, so happy belated Valentine's Day to everybody, whether you got a lover or not. We got Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary all this weekend, so I will have a video about that also coming up real soon next week. But for now, more soon, don't worry. But for now, we gotta talk about one of the biggest things to drop yesterday on Valentine's Day, and that was the brand new Captain America film, Captain America: Brave New World, aka Captain America Foe. Captain America Foe. Because, it's still Captain America. This is the fourth entry in the Captain America series in the MCU. And for those of you keeping note in the Black History Month world, this is the third MCU film with a black lead. Technically, I'd say fourth, because if you count the Marvels, if you count the Marvels, Homegirl was, Monica Rambeau was pretty much a lead. It wasn't just Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel. She played a really big part in that too. So we'll count that. So let's say 3.5. Three and a half movie with a black lead being one of the heroes being portrayed in the MCU. If I'm wrong, please tell me where I'm wrong. Because from what I know, there's two Black Panther movies with two different Black Panthers. This Captain America movie with a new Captain America. And the Marvels with Monica Rambeau. But if we're going to play that game, we could go Eternals too. So maybe let's not go too crazy. But we'll just say 3. We'll keep it at 3. Anyway, I have all sorts of feelings for this film about how I feel. I want to get to it. First off, this film is on track to most likely be the #1 film this weekend in the U.S. box office. I know last time I checked, I think it was pushing towards 90 million tickets sold. This is dope because just like Black Panther, this movie was also directed by a black person. It was Mr. Julius Ona, who is a Nigerian man. He's also directed the Cloverfield Paradox that came out on Netflix not too long ago. So he has a little bit of a resume, and they called him for this. And I'm not gonna lie, in terms of directing, I don't think he disappointed that much. Because a lot of people, granted, this film got dragged. It got dragged in reviews and scores and stuff like that. Its Rotten Tomato score was 50%, which made it the third lowest Rotten Tomato score in the post-Endgame era for the MCU. So that's all Marvel MCU films that came out after Endgame came out. And there's quite a few actually. So since Endgame, there's been quite a few. It wasn't just as if there's only been 5 movies. There's been quite a few with more on the way this year with Captain America and with Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts. I don't think those other two will get low Rotten Tomato scores, but hey, could be wrong. You know what I mean? This movie, I didn't think it would get that low of a score, but it got the third lowest score. The only 2 scores that got lower than this film is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Eternals. Those are the 2 other lower scored films. So when you see something like that in your mind, you're like, oh, this movie's about to be doo-doo. I'm not feeling this. It's not going to hit. That's kind of whack. But I'm here to tell y'all, folks, it's not as crazy as the Rotten Tomatoes make it seem. It's not as crazy as a lot of these other companies or review sites that you might see are making it out to seem. The film is not that garbage. It's not. And I'm not saying it to say that it's garbage with flaws. I'm just saying it to say that, it could have been worse. In a world where there is a movie like Eternals and there is a movie like Ant-Man 3, it could have been worse, So I'm not going to break down what the movie was about. I can say Cliff Notes version is basically about Sam Wilson taking the moniker of Captain America, just dealing with life in a world where he is Captain America, but a Captain America with no powers. He did upgrade his suit. He got a lot of different technology upgrades courtesy of the Wakandians and other people. Of course, he got Captain America's shield. So he's learned how to adapt and use it. And he's getting training from Isaiah Bradley, aka the Forgotten Captain America. If you've seen the show The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it'll explain a lot of who he is. So that was a very good thing that they imported him from the actual show to the movie to say that, like, hey, we're still friends and he trains me. Because this guy, technically, he's Captain America. He just didn't get the same love as Steve Rogers. And Sam Wilson's story is more of a story about race. Like, we got to keep it real. Like, it's Black excellence in the sense that it is a story about race, and it is a story about, just dealing with just the vibe of, like, we don't get, some things ain't gonna go our way. Some things ain't fair. Like, when you look at a movie like Black Panther, or the storyline per se, he didn't go through the stuff that Sam Wilson was going through because he's a prince. T'Challa was a prince. So when he pulls up to America, he gets treated with royalty and a lot of respect. They'll still see him as a black man, but they still gonna look at it like, yo, this is a different type of a vibe. This is a rich and powerful black man with a country with some of the greatest scientific minds known to the human race. Whereas Sam Wilson is just a regular dude from the hood, you know what I mean? Like, he's just chilling. He's just trying to live his life. And now he got bestowed with the honor of being a superhero, but he has no powers, like, at all. So he doesn't have the powers Captain America had. And they present that throughout the movie. There's times where you're like, if this happened to Steve Rogers, everything would have been all right. Like, they got mad because there's a scene where Isaiah Bradley, you'll find out, but he attempts to assassinate Thunderbolt Ross, who is the president in this world at the time. And they're all mad. They ready to just throw the book at Isaiah Bradley. They ready to give him, like, the death penalty, everything, right? But you also, and they're all like, yo, your man's was wild and he tried to assassinate people and da-da-da-da. But as far back as I can remember, in The Winter Soldier, Bucky was out here wilding. And Steve Rogers, they was trying to stop Bucky. Yes, they was. But at some point, Bucky ain't go to jail. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody come back for him. Like, what? It is what it is, right? Civil War, Iron Man was trying to get Bucky. Still ain't happened. You know what I mean? Like, Bucky is out here. And then in the movie, they announced that man's about to run for Congress, while Isaiah Bradley was riding in prison. Now, granted, the difference is Isaiah Bradley got caught and they sent him to jail. I get that. And most of the movie is about Sam Wilson trying to clear his friend's name. I get that. But I was just like, this is where we go in the movie. Even at a point, Thunderbolt Ross is like, yo, you ain't Steve Rogers, my boy. Like, this is a different ball game. But it's a lot of those pictures of race that get presented in this film, and it had to. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of addressed those issues in the beginning, and they got us to where we are now, where Isaiah Bradley didn't even want to go in the White House. He didn't even want to rock with Ross because he just looked at it like, look, I'm done with that life. Like, I will stay away and leave them alone, but I also realized that, like, I don't want to deal with them. But Sam Wilson was like, yo, we friends, bro. Like, I'll take care of you. I'm big dog. You big dog with me. You know what I mean? Like, those things to me was, like, really important in the movie. And it was, I think to some people, maybe that's not what they wanted to see. I don't know. Because for a Captain America movie, you want a lot of the suspense, the espionage type vibes, because that's what we got from at least the last two Captain America movies. It was all about just the suspense of things and the plot twist and the fighting and the chase scenes and all that stuff. But you got to realize it like this. The white Captain America, when he got in a fight, he would say, I could do this all day. The black Captain America, he got in a fight and he was like, no, I got shit to do today. Come on, let's do it. That's the key difference, is that Sam Wilson was like, I need this done within a certain amount of time because I have other errands to run. Whereas Steve Rogers was like, bruh, I don't even got a job. we got all day, bro. Y'all could do Endgame for 5 years for all I care. While everybody was sitting through Endgame for 5 years, wondering what they was doing with their lives, and they missing their loved ones that got hit in a snap. Steve Rogers was just like doot 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 doot. Like that was it. Like he's like, we gonna find some way to beat Thanos. I know we are, but I don't got a job. I'm chilling. So I digress. What I did like about the movie was the different elements they were incorporating from past Marvel movies to keep the continuity flowing. You know, the whole world is fighting over adamantium because of the Eternals, the whole big Celestial Island joint. We had an ex-Black Widow from Black Widow. She didn't really reveal that she knew Lexi or Val or Natasha or anybody else, or Yelena or anybody, but she was a ex-Widow. So you throw in the Black Widow element, you throw in the old Captain America movies, you throw in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you get an appearance by Bucky, and you even go as far back as the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton, to the point where you get a special appearance by Betsy Ross herself, who is played by Liv Tyler. I was very shocked by that. I was not expecting her to pull up. I was not expecting them to even pay any homage to the Incredible Hulk film, but they did. They paid a really amount of homage to it. In some ways, I even read online, this is kind of like a spiritual sequel to the Incredible Hulk more than it is a sequel to Captain America's storyline, because it was just a lot of elements going back to the Hulk with Thunderbolt Ross and his daughter and Abomination. They even show videos from the Incredible Hulk, which I thought was pretty cool, because I'm a person that likes those kind of flashbacks, and then likes when it's like you incorporate those old elements to say like, we didn't forget about these storylines. So to me, that was cool. The movie wasn't really funny. Let's just be real. Joaquin, who is now going to be the Falcon, he was more of like the comic relief, and he did try. He really did try. But the movie wasn't funny, but it wasn't really meant to. But we know it's supposed to have that MCU charm. And Anthony Mackie was too serious in his role, because he had to be, that he couldn't really give you too much of that MCU charm. Probably the funniest line I laughed at with Captain America was when he just got a pep talk from Bucky, then he had to fight the Hulk, and Bucky told him that you don't need the serum because you're a good person. And freaking Sam Wilson was like, man, I should have took that serum, yo. Bucky full of shit. That was kind of funny, because that's, again, something that, like, that's just a Black essence. Because I feel like any Black person in that situation would have been like, bro, I should have stopped capping, bro. I should have took that serum. I would have been packed this man up already. So he, like, everything was dope. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a perfect film, but I am going to say that for what the story needed to tell, it told. It gave us a villain that we weren't expecting in the leader. That was his alter ego name. Like, this dude was mad smart, and it was a storyline that I wasn't even expecting, because I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm not comic efficient. I'm not savvy in comic. You know what I'm saying? I know some of the comics, but I don't know all of them. So I didn't know there was a storyline where there was a dude who, he got hit with gamma radiation, you know, just like the Hulk. But instead of like the Hulk, where he just becomes this powerful force, he is one of the smartest minds in the game. And be on the lookout, because this man might do more damage in the upcoming Marvel films. Because right now, until Mr. Fantastic finds his way into the MCU universe, this man is one of the smartest men in the universe of 616. Just saying. So all in all, I liked all of those elements. I thought they were cool. I felt like we probably could have did a little more, in the sense of like, maybe probably better with the Hulk fight. But at the end of the day, what did y'all really, if any one of y'all sit here and say the Hulk fight versus Captain America was whack, I need y'all to remember what fight y'all just saw. It was not against Steve Rogers. It was against Sam Wilson, a man with no powers and just gadgets. That's not going to cut it against the Hulk. Just because Batman can find a way to beat Bane doesn't mean that Cap Wilson is going to do the same thing. Because at the end of the day, Batman even got to do some smart stuff just to beat Bane. It's not like he's just beating him up, right? So you got to look at it like that. He had to use what we in the anime world call talk no jutsu, where you basically talk somebody down into realizing that, hey, we're not gonna go anywhere with this fight. In other words, you gotta beat him with empathy. You gotta use your feelings in order to win the fight. No fist can be thrown. You have to just speak with your chest and use your heart. You know what I mean? Use your heart and not your mind. Like, you gotta do that. So it's like, that's what this movie was basically about. It was like, we ain't trying to fight no more. There is a man trying to pit all of us together, and I have to stop this. And it was a cool plot twist to know that Thunderbolt Ross was still a bad person, but he wasn't the main villain, or for that matter, he wasn't the villain at all, really. He just was still his general self, where he was just a jerk. And Cap had to just deal with that. But the only thing that they had an agreement on by the end of the movie was that we need to restart the Avengers and get them back. So now we get to see who Cap brings on as the Avengers. Because we also know that from the Marvels movie, there is a chance that we will get the young Avengers. Are we also going to get maybe the street level Avengers? I don't know. But we know for a fact that Cap can at least call on the Hulk and Ant-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, just to name a few. We got to see what happens to Doctor Strange. We got to see if Thor's still trying to come through. We got to see if the Hulk's ready to throw hands again. This movie did what it needed to do. It needed to push the story forward because nothing else was pushing the story forward. Think about it. X-Men 97 was a side story, so it had nothing to do with the MCU, right? It just had a cameo from the Watcher, which kind of linked it to the MCU, but it wasn't confirming that it's MCU yet. The Marvels is done. Agatha All Along was also a side story, even though it's MCU. We don't know what her storyline is going to do to the MCU going forward, neither. And lastly, Deadpool and Wolverine was just a movie to just push them into the MCU, but at the same time, it didn't make them like fully involved in the MCU. It just gave a slight inch of a push. This story gave the right push because by the end of the film, there is one post-credit scene. At the end of the film, it tells us that, hey, there is a multiversal war coming. Because now everybody knows. Loki didn't tell Captain America, hey, there's a multiversal war coming. You better like cover your asses and get ready. Like, no, he didn't tell him that. He just went and tried to save the whole universe in his own way. And he's still doing that as this story progresses. So this was the movie that needed to drive us into the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts and any other project coming up soon. Because I promise you, Daredevil's coming up next month, and that guy ain't going to tell us nothing about no multiversal war. So we needed this, ladies and gentlemen. Even if the story wasn't that valid, it was still alright. You see how I just transitioned into my reviews? Yes. So I did like it. I thought it was cool. For what it's worth, y'all need to stop dragging it, people. I'm just saying that to say that. Yeah, I went around a little bit, but I found what I wanted to say. Stop dragging this movie, y'all. This movie is not that bad. It's pretty aight. I think that, yes, there are elements where it could have been a little bit better, but those elements was be more because they were focusing on a story where it still was about the differences that he had to face as Captain America, not only with no powers, but as a black dude. Where there was a Captain America with powers who was going through it even worse. So he was a black dude. So this is not Steve Rogers Captain America where he could run around the city and be a hero and be beloved and nobody would be mad that he helped Bucky escape when Bucky should have been in jail. Bucky should have been under the jail by now. Nobody was mad at him. But in a world where it's two black dudes in a similar situation, where Isaiah Bradley wasn't really trying to assassinate the president, he was being mind controlled, the world was just like, I still think he did it though. But shout out to this movie, shout out to the director, doing their thing. This to me was some black excellence for a Captain America film. This to me was some black excellence for an MCU film. And for a film overall, they was getting us ready in all types of ways. Y'all knew the vibes. Y'all should have known this when y'all seen the commercials. Every commercial featured a Kendrick Lamar song. The movie ends with a Kendrick Lamar song. I'm not going to tell you which one. When you see it, you'll know. So you knew what kind of film you was getting. This is black excellence. And Kendrick Lamar been all over the MCU since Black Panther 1 anyway. So this, he might as well just do Not Like Us when Thunderbolts come out. Just saying. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, go see this film. It's cool. It's alright. I rocks with it. It's passable. It's watchable. It won't be a waste of your money. Just don't get upset when they start, bringing up talks of race and bringing up, they don't really do it like that. But what I'm saying is just bringing up the hardships of like him having to be Captain America, because this is what his story arc is about. Him having to be a superhero with no superpowers. He has to be like Batman, but he ain't as smart as Batman. You know what I mean? Like, he has to be like Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange got magic. So he is the different guy. He has to use the gadgets. He has to use the fact that he's very good at being a pilot and so many other things. And he has to be good at talking people down. And he's done it throughout his time here in the MCU. You've seen him do it. He's had talks with war veterans. He's had talks with Captain Americas. He had talks with Bucky Barnes. He had talks with John Wilson to help him become a better person. And he had talks with Joaquin so he could be the Falcon, and Isaiah Bradley as well. Two more things that I wanted to focus on. One was Seth Volker's character. We'll just say that. If you know who he is in the comics, you know. He was played by Giancarlo Esposito. He did a good job, but I know that in the comics, that dude looks very different. So I feel like they blacked him up on purpose because Giancarlo Esposito is a dope dude. And it is interesting that for a black movie, they're talking about a Hulk fight that happened in Harlem, New York. I know it happened in Harlem, in New York, in the movie in 2008, but I still feel it's mad funny that they still bring it up like, yo, you remember that fight in Harlem? So I just feel like that the coincidence is too crazy because they never brought that up until this very moment. They waited so many years, almost 20 years, to bring that moment up now. So that's funny to me. And also, I was very disappointed to find out that WWE wrestler Seth freaking Rollins, was not going to be in this film. Because when I first heard he's supposed to be in this film, I was very excited. I wanted to see who he was going to be. And they never brought it up. So, and I also heard that there is another comic book character in there. But it's a comic book movie, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I will say is go see this film. Check it out. It's a brave new world out there. We all need to be ready in more ways than one. Anyway, as usual, check us out on Linktree. Linktree is in the description. Check us out. Check out the content I'm brewing. Got more stuff in the pipeline in time. Everything will be fine. But until then, it's your boy Marv Lat signing out. See y'all next time. Peace. Anthony Mackie, you a true OG, baby. Came from Papa Doc to Captain America. I see you, boy.